We would like to thank our judge for this evening, Garrett Sproul from Yerix, Ohio. He's a graduate of The Ohio State University with a bachelor's in animal sciences. He currently is the co-owner and operator of G&S Swine, a 70-so show pig operation selling prospects year-round throughout the country. Garrett has judged county, jackpot, and state-level shows across the United States for the past 8 years. Please give our judge a round of applause. Now entering the ring, Class 1, Lydia Fields, tag 67, Zachary Atkins, tag 48, Josh Saunders, tag 72, Cheyenne Wilson, tag 9, Gracie Saunders, tag 68, Bentley Holland, tag 86. Judge, this is your class. Judge, this is a 220 to 230 weight class. We would like to thank our sponsors for this show, Art and Amy Bale, Jason and Kelly Forbush, Wade's Work and Western Wear, Lawrence County Farm Bureau, Kids Hill Willing Workers, and Starlight 4-H Club. Let's give our sponsors a round of applause.
Well, good evening. It's certainly my pleasure to be here in Lawrence County, Ohio, to get to work through your Market Hog show this evening. I know I was scheduled to do it last year, and unfortunately, you guys weren't able to have a fair. So, was certainly excited to be able to come back and get the opportunity to do it. And we'll kind of follow the same format the whole way through. We'll probably kind of pen off our bottom and leave our top ends out throughout the classes. And I guess kids in this first class are just a general comment. I like when the kids are enthusiastic, that want to come shake my hand or introduce themselves. But quite honestly, for my personal preference, when you guys come out of that pen, I honestly wish you'd just get those hogs drove and drive them out and give your pig a good look and let me get an initial look at them. And that's not saying anything negative. I'd just rather you shake my hand after the class and we get those things drove out. And that's in no way, shape, or form going to change how you place by any means, just a personal preference thing. But we get into the first trio of lightweights here, and honestly, as you kind of come to expect in a lightweight class, there's just more parts and pieces, and you're not going to sit here and say one of them's just perfect, but you start to break them down and set a trend. That young lady's blue butt that's riding the rail on the far side needs to go ahead and win this class, and that's not the one that would catch your attention ringside. I fully understand that, because of our top trio, that one's was third in terms of skin and hair and presentation. A better skin and hair coat and a different clip job would make that look like a completely different barrel from the ringside. When you break them down and evaluate them, though, that one pound for pound is easily the squarest. That one far and above is just the most correct in terms of the angles. He's the best from hock to ground. He's the most comfortable. He's the most structurally sound. And for a lightweight class, he still has enough in terms of muscle. Sure, you'd like to give him a notch more shape up high. I'd love to clip the side of his face and honestly put a bunch of hair back onto his body and open him in terms of his rib cage. I think that comes with age. That's just the comfortable place to start. I thought the decision was between 2 and 3, and honestly a pair of them that are more highly presented and a pair of them that kind of run into problems on opposite ends of their skeleton. One of them gets too upright and forward in terms of their blade. The other one wants to put too much weight on their outside toes, and I think you step back and call it a wash because you need to fix both of them from a skeletal perspective. Which one looks like a show pig, which one has more muscle. The young man's kind of blue mascot on the far side goes second, and quite honestly, that's the one that I want to like. That one from her ham loin forward excels this class in a hurry. She's tall-shouldered, she's stout-skulled, she's good-looking, she's good in terms of her shape up high. Get right in behind her is why she has to go second. She puts too much weight on her outside toes. She pushes her hock out. She wants to push her elbow out a little bit coming right at you. If I could square her hind leg, that one wins in a hurry. The way they sit today, she needs to go second. Young man does a nice job driving the belted one there, and another one that honestly has a competitive advantage over the one in second in terms of the way that she puts her rear leg down. At the same time, evaluate her on the side profile and study her shoulder blade and her angle. She's not only too straight and forward, her blade's too far forward. If we could relax that one shoulder blade and allow her to naturally elevate and reach off of her front end, we can talk about working her up because I like just her shape up high and just natural expression. Young man's blue one that comes in fourth here. Another one, skin and hair presentation's very good. Love that one's just center body, upper rib shape, stout skulled at the same time. That one just wants to get too quick in terms of maturity pattern. And by that I mean that one just reads too small in terms of her type and kind. She's 220 some pounds and she looks like she's done. We need to clean her up in terms of her throat and her jaw. Young lady's belted one that comes out fifth. A little bit better in terms of frame size at the same time. That one just kind of runs out of horsepower and gas. He's frailer footed, he's lighter in terms of his muscle pattern. Just wish we could shove just more true muscle and power and substance into that one if we want to move him up. As we round this class out, the young lady's black-headed one that comes out there in sixth. Another one, center body, rib, fill is really, really good. He's another one. He's just too small and quick in his maturity pattern. We need to already peel some extra cover. Just make him bigger in type and kind to allow him to be a bigger market hog that can pack more muscle. But interesting class. Congratulate those 6 kids as they head out.
Class 2, please report to the holding area. Results from Class 1. In 6th place, Gracie Saunders. In 5th place, Lydia Fields. In 4th place, Zachary Atkins. In 3rd place, Josh Saunders. In 2nd place, Bentley Holland. And in 1st place, Cheyenne Wilson. Now entering the ring, Class 2, Madison Bevins, tag 60. Tucker Huff, tag 41. Aubrey Cyrus, tag 20. Lane Bell, tag 29. Kennedy Shipley, tag 40. Bentley Holland, tag 87. Rocky Huff, tag 36. This is a 231 to 238 weight class. We need one parent and one exhibitor in the pig area. If you're not either of those, please exit at this time.
Well, another interesting group of them here on the top end in our second class. And again, a little bit more parts and pieces, and not exactly one that I think you gravitate towards and say, hey, here it is. This one absolutely has to win this particular class. But at the same time, I still think there's quality amongst the group. And when you just step back and evaluate them and honestly ask yourself which one does the most things correct and which one do you need to change the least, it's a young man's blue barrel that wants to be a little feisty. That barrel's going to go ahead and win this particular class. And again, very similar to that first class. When you just break them down from a skeletal feet and legs standpoint and just a basic market hog standpoint, that one's the best in his chest and his knee when he comes right at you. Tuck in behind him. He's the best in terms of your rear leg and his hock. Evaluating him on the side profile. He's the tallest shouldered. He's naturally the longest necked. He's the cleanest and tightest about his jawline. Where does he need fixed? When you get right on top of him, that barrel needs to open with more spread, especially out of the backside of his blade. He needs to come with a notch more shape and just true hard raw muscle expression up high. And that's honestly where the pair in 2 and 3 has an advantage over him. I think this pair gets a little bit closer because where you need to change each of them's where are the ones maybe just a nickel better. I ultimately land on the young man's belt to go here closest to me to go ahead and go second. And a young man needs commemorated on a job well done there, and just a gilt that he honestly makes that gilt, truthfully makes her look better than what she realistically is. He does a nice job of trying to get her head up and get her drove. She's tall-shouldered. She's good in terms of her shape up high, where she just kind of runs out of gas. Watch that gilt, especially out there on the concrete as she comes at you and she goes away from you. She's the most narrow and concaved in terms of her chest. She's the thinnest and honestly skinniest in terms of just her pin and her hip set. Just doesn't come at you or leave you with anywhere near enough power. The young man's there in third. Stout skulled, big backed one. That one's actually got the biggest, boldest chest of the top trio. At that one at the surface, it gets softer at his front foot set. That one's laying on, she gets softer in her front foot set. She's laying on too much condition, especially from her blade to her jaw. If we could clean that one up and just make that one taller shouldered, we could talk about moving that one up. Young lady comes out in fourth there. It's just a nice practical type of barrel. He's good in terms of his muscle, good in terms of his body. We need to reconfigure the way his shoulder blade lays into him. He's another one that gets too forward and straight in terms of his blade, gets a little more naturally down-headed, but he does bring some positives to the table. Young lady's white one that comes out next. Another one in terms of just true back shape up high. You have to appreciate that about that hog. At the same time, evaluate him on the side. It gets flatter in terms of his rib cage. It gets higher and drier in his flank. And he just doesn't ever want to just quite level and grab and go out of his rear leg and out through his hip. Young lady there in sixth certainly has a powerhouse of a hog, and quite honestly a really good example. If you could just judge one on the stand in the pen, that one moves up several spots because that one's really heavy base, that one's really heavy muscled at the same time. Study that one's front feet. They're not only too soft, they want to turn and twist as they come at you. She wants to get roached right there in her ham loin, and it's just too much going away in terms of she needs to bring her rear leg back inside her body wall. Young man that rounds out our class there, another one. In terms of just sheer body and rib cage and shape and the center proportion of his body that you like that one, we've got to level that one's spine, and we've got to make that one just a little less quick in terms of his maturity pattern. But if you would, give all 7 of those kids a round of applause as they head out.
Class 3 to the holding area. Results from Class 2. In 7th place, Tucker Huff. In 6th place, Kennedy Shipley. In 5th place, Madison Bevins. In 4th place, Aubrey Cyrus. In 3rd place, Rocky Huff. In 2nd place, Lane Bell. And in 1st place, Bentley Holland. Now entering the ring, Class 3, Emma Berry, tag 6, Spring Ross, tag 46, Emily McComas, tag 64, Grady Holland, tag 83, Brinley Gore, tag 37, Haley Beckett, tag 88, and Taylin McComas, tag 65. Judge, this is your 240 to 244 class.
I apologize if I seem like I kind of flew through this class. I promise we'll take our time when it's needed. And at the same time, some things just line up really logically. And I think this is one of those classes where they kind of all fall in the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Logically, at least in my mind. This young man's white-footed barrel to my left needs to win the class. And quite honestly, I could just tell you that one just has the most muscle, that one has the most dimension, and he has honestly the fewest amount of problems in this particular drive in comparison to his contemporaries. He's big back, he's still bold about his chest when he comes at you, and you get on top of him. He's really good in terms of his spread, really good in terms of his fill. At the same time, about every third step, he wants to put a little too much weight on his outside toe, on his back right as he goes away from you. When you evaluate him on the side profile, you wish you would clean him up from his jawline, from his blade to just his ear set through his neck. I wish when you got on top of him, he just had a little more hard, fresh, crisp back shape up high. At the same time, that's picking apart a barrel that honestly wins this class pretty handily in my eyes. I think 2, 3, and 4 gets a little bit closer, and you've got every sort of type and kind out here. You've got one that's bigger back, but also just faster in terms of maturity and condition. You've got one that's probably the best built one that has the least amount of muscle, and then you kind of have one of them that lands them in between. So it does get really close. I like the young man's kind of sandy roan colored when they're in the center of the ring to go second, and critics ringside will say that one doesn't have enough body and that one's too hard. And if you say that, I wouldn't disagree with you at all, because you're absolutely right. She needs more body, she needs more flank. At the same time, she's good in terms of her shape. That's the safest and most correct in terms of feet and legs. At the same time, that one's the most appropriate in terms of just its body type and composition for where we're at this weight. Young lady on the far side is going to go 3. Young lady there in white's going to go 4. And I think a pair of hogs, what separates the pairs, the barrel in third, simply put, has more to him. He's wider based, he's heavier muscled. We can all see ringside he's laying on too much cover. We need to clean him through the lower third of his skeleton. We need to clean him through his skull and his jaw. But his added dimensions, why he still gets to go 3. Young lady's gilt there in 4, another one that kind of resembles the one in second in terms of the center portion of their body. A little harder, a little drier, and even with that said, that one didn't have as much spread on the top side of its skeleton. That one too was laying too much cover in the front third of its body. As we bring these ones out here in 5, 6, and 7, young ladies are doing an awesome job. Quite honestly, those got placed in order of the amount of muscle that they have. That's a trio of hogs that we need to level, all 3 of them in terms of their spine. We need to make all 3 of them just more correct in terms of their angles. From there on, they all needed more body. The one in 5th had more muscle than the one in 6th. The one in 6th more than the one in 7. An interesting class. If you would, congratulate those kids.
Class 4 to the holding area. Results from Class 3. In 7th place, Emma Berry. In 6th place, Emily McComas. In 5th place, Spring Ross. In 4th place, Brinley Gore. In 3rd place, Haley Beckett. In 2nd place, Taylor McComas. And in 1st place, Grady Holland. Now entering the ring for Class 4, Lakin Berry, tag 7. Kaylee Maynard, tag 62. Rocky Huff, tag 35. Kaylee Payne, tag 43. Kaylee Payne, tag 44. Aubrey Cyrus, tag 19. Grady Holland, tag 85. Josh Saunders, tag 73. And Trace McComas, tag 63. Judge, this is your 245 to 250 weight class. All swine exhibitors will need to be on standby for final drive, and you can get drop slips at the announcer stand for your second animal.
We get into our next class here and certainly take a few extra minutes. And honestly, it's just a nice class of market hogs. The Dosislos still have a lot of differences just from a market setting, from a shopping setting, etc. It's I'm not gonna. I'll tell you when it's easy, and sometimes I'll tell you when it's challenging. And I honestly think this is a more challenging class to work through because there's 5 or 6 of them on the top end that all have an area or two where honestly they're better than the one that's going to win the class, and then the one that's winning the class is better than area or two than the one that's in second. And there's just way more give and take. If you wanted to grab the microphone and say one of those ones in 4th, 5th, or 6th is going to win this class because they just have the biggest back, you wouldn't be lying to anyone because they do have the biggest back. They just probably come with more structural problems. Or you want to say one of them needs to win the class because they have the most shape. That's fine. You can do that if you can talk it, but you stay on pace with kind of what we've done all day. The one for me that does the most things correct, that you need to change the least amount of things about, that still has the look. They're tall-shouldered, they're elevated, they're naturally elevated, their blade angle is laid in where it's supposed to be, they're the most comfortable out of their hip and hind leg, and then of the ones that are built right and attractive enough on the side, still has more than enough on the top side of its skeleton, comes at you with more chest than the one that's going to go ahead and go second. That young lady's belted gilt here closest to me is going to win this class. Elephant in the room on that one is that one needs to be stouter featured. That one needs to come on a bigger foot. She needs to have a bigger forearm. I certainly wish her rear leg was bigger because if that one came with just the substance of foot and bone as a few of these other ones, I think that makes the decision on the top end a lot easier. I think the decision between 2 and 3 is close too because one of them needs change on the back end of their skeleton and the other one needs change on the front end of their skeleton, and it's kind of where you want to lay your priorities. I end up landing on the young lady's blue one to go ahead and go second, and I do think it's really close because the blue one just packs more punch, there's more muscle, there's more genuine hog there. At the same time, you've got to level that one out of her hip and her rump, you've got to elongate that one's hip to make that one be able to just go north and south better. She wants to kind of swivel and search east and west off of her rear legs. If you can fix her there, I think we can talk about moving her up. Young man's belted gilt in 3rd. I love that one, just foot size and just sheer circumference of bone. That one's got one of the bigger rear legs in class. Skin and hair presentation on that gilt's very good. You just study her. She's too forward and straight in terms of her blade, and it makes sense when you evaluate her. The ones that get straight in their blade tend to close in their chest. When she comes at you, she closes in her chest, she closes in her body and her forearm. That's where the gilt in 4 does have a decided advantage. That one's center body fill, upper rib shape. I like that one really well. That was a gilt I wanted to make myself like, and her problem, and I'm sure you can see it easier on the concrete, just watch her back legs go away from you. If that one would put her weight down square instead of rolling and twisting, we could talk about it. Same thing can be said for the black one that comes out. Front foot set we need to make stronger, and when you tuck right in behind that one's back left and back right, especially the back right at times. Puts all of her weight on her outside toe. As a direct result, she wants to swivel her hawk inward. If we could elevate that one up front and fix her there, she can move up because that's a big backed, well presented one that's good in terms of the center part of their body. Young man's calico coming out, and we all see that one's got an umbilical rupture underneath. Honestly, I give you more leeway than some guys will in that regard, and that's not the reason she's 6th, because I like her shape up high. Her look from the side was very good, and her angles read right. At the same time, when you watch that one track around the arena surface, she's shorter in terms of her hip length. She searches east and west instead of driving north and south. As we start letting these out here in 7, 8, and 9, young man's blue one in 7th there. Just comes with more muscle than the ones below it, like that one's center body. We've got to level that one's spine, pick that one's front feet up. Young man coming out next there, another one gets a little more tender on its front foot. We've got to just inject that one with more true shape and muscle up high. Another again, and also more body. Young man does a nice job. Young lady that rounds out our class there, another kind of longer sided one, big frame type of hog that we just have to get more filled out. Needs to come at you with more base width, needs to open and just have more spread up high. But an interesting class of them. They give all 9 of those kids a nice round of applause.
Class 5 to the holding area, Class 5. Results from Class 4. In 9th place, Lakin Berry. In 8th place, Trace McComas. In 7th place, Rocky Huff. In 6th place, Josh Saunders. In 5th place, Aubrey Cyrus. In 4th place, Kaylee Maynard. In 3rd place, Grady Holland. In 2nd place, Kaylee Payne. And in 1st place, Kaylee Payne. We would like to take this time to recognize our sponsors for this evening's show. We'd like to thank Art and Amy Bell, Jason and Kelly Forbush, Wade's Work in Western Wear, Lawrence County Farm Bureau, Kids Hill Willing Workers, and Starlight 4-H Club. Everyone give them a round of applause. Now entering the ring for Class 5, Emma Berry, tag 8. Mason Jones, tag 33. Haley Boggs, tag 25. Lydia Saunders, tag 71. Dawson Forbush, tag 5. And Kennedy Shipley, tag 39. Judge, this is your 251 to 253 weight class.
We need everyone in the holding area to clear out unless you're one parent with your child. They don't have room to get the hogs in, so we're going to go through and clear out here in a minute. We would ask that one parent or adult with each child. Otherwise, please leave the holding area. Also, if you don't have a pig in the ring or not on deck, then please at least move to the side away from the pen so they can get the pigs in there.
Reminder to hog exhibitors that we have drop slips available at the announcer stand for your second animal, and those are due tomorrow at noon.
I think you have to land on this top pair of them in this particular class. And I think a pair of market hogs that both bring a lot of good to the table, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're the same in any regard because they're honestly quite different. One of them's just taller shouldered and more attractive about their head, and at the same time, the one that's taller shouldered and more attractive on the side, when you get on top of them, that's the one that's plainer in terms of its muscle pattern. That's the one when you step back and watch them come at you that closes the most in its chest. When you step in back and watch them on the side, that's the one that's the straightest in their hock and the shortest in their hip. And then at the same time, you've got one that's far and above, just stouter featured and bigger leg. That same one, when you get on the top side of their skeleton, is undeniably just more pronounced and more substance in terms of just base width and spread. When they come at you, they're bigger and bolder in terms of their chest. When you step back off of that one at the same time, you know, that one wants to get a little shorter fronted. That one wants to get a little lay on a little more condition through the front third of their body. So that's how I see them, and you see the differences between them, and you kind of evaluate them. The young lady's barrel to my left needs to win the class, and does so just on a quality standpoint. I guess if you paid attention to what I said, that's the one we have to make taller shouldered. We have to make him more attractive about his head, but at the same time, he's stouter featured. He's more flexible and comfortable off of both ends of his skeleton. He's bigger and bolder in terms of his back, and quite honestly, his skin and and hair doesn't help him in terms of presentation. I wish we could just freshen him up there. Young lady that comes in second does an excellent job driving that Gilt, and that's the taller shouldered, better looking one, and you could see it ringside. It's just when she had her out here in the center, she presents extremely well. She's just shorter in terms of her hip. When you get in behind her, it just needs more flex to her hock. We need to relax her blade angle, but young lady does a very nice job presenting her project. Young lady here is the logical third place one. Just a real stout back leg, a big bodied one. At the same time, evaluate that one. Need to level that one. I wish that one just naturally tied her neck into her shoulder better and came out the front end of her skeleton. But at the same time, that one's just added muscle and body. Allows that one to go third. Young man in 4 there with the Yorkshire appearing barrel. Love that one shape. Big stout mug on the barrel. We've got to make him more comfortable. We've got to level him in his spine. The young man we drop out in 5th, and the young lady there in 6th. A similar pair of them, a pair of hogs that honestly both need to come with more muscle, base width, and genuine dimension if we want to talk about moving them up. But at the same time, young man's just read with a notch more muscle and shape up high, and that allows him to slide into 5th over the young ladies that rounds out our class there in 6th. Yeah, nice class. Congratulate those kids on their way out.
Class 6 to the holding area, Class 6. Results from Class 5. In 6th place, Emma Berry. In 5th place, Dawson Forbush. In 4th place, Mason Jones. In 3rd place, Lydia Saunders. In 2nd place, Haley Boggs. And in 1st place, Kennedy Shipley. Now entering the ring, Class 6, Devin Fife, tag 93, Memphis Jones, tag 30, Alyssa Wall, tag 16, Adrian Cyrus, tag 17, Caleb Ritchie, tag 21, Easton Collier, tag 76, and Lane Bell, tag 27. Judge, this is your 255 to 259 weight class.
Again, I'd ask you to please clear out the work area there so the kids can get their pigs through so we don't get someone hurt. Please clear out the holding area.
We would like to thank our judge for this evening, Garrett Sproul from Yerricks, Ohio. He's a graduate of The Ohio State University with a bachelor's in animal sciences. He currently is the co-owner and operator of G&S Swine, a 70s show pig operation selling prospects year-round throughout the country. Garrett has judged county, jackpot, and state-level shows across the United States for the past 8 years. Please give our judge a round of applause.
think a really nice class of them and a nice trio of them. At the same time, it comes down to the pair of them that our two younger men are driving out here. And I think a contrasting pair of them that quite honestly is a very good example, not to be cliche, but if you could take the best of each of these and just take their best parts and pieces and put them into one, then the show's over, because you can meet me at the backdrop and we'll show for reserve. But at the same time, as individuals, I think they both bring a lot of positives to the table. I like the young man's predominantly black bear on the far side to go ahead and win the class. And that one certainly excels this drive in terms of just substance of bone, in terms of stoutness of skull, and still being clean about his jawline. Get on top of him. He's overwhelmingly, decisively, just has more spread and substance on the top side of his skeleton, and actually is a notch better in terms of just the shape and crispness out over his loin edge. At the same time, I'm not telling you that one's perfect. I wish I could relax him a little bit in terms of the angulation to his shoulder blade. I wish that barrel came in just a notch bigger package, and that's where this gilt that goes second has an advantage. I prefer her shoulder blade angle. I prefer her length of neck and her overall frame size better than our class winner, and I think that makes that decision closer. She's square, she's comfortable. At the same time, step back, she just runs out of gas in terms of foot and forearm and rear leg, just sheer stoutness, and it makes sense when you get on top of her. She runs out of gas in terms of just true spread and dimension and muscle, but a very good one. A really nice third place type of pig our young man drives there, and honestly, I prefer that one in terms of just stoutness and feature better than the one that goes into second. She's square, she's sound, she's comfortable. She's just one that you get on top of her. She gets plainer and more nondescriptive in terms of her muscle pattern. That's a gilt from a skeletal perspective, though, man. You could take that one home and feed on that one really, really hard, or do a lot of things with that one. It's just a really nice type of pig to go 3. Young man kind of drives a workhorse here in 4. That's a big, bold chest in 1. That's a stout skull. Gets more similar to that gilt that goes second in a class before in terms of it's just steadier on the side and even going away. She gets shorter in terms of her hip length, wants to almost stab east and west off of her rear leg. If we could make that one just longer hipped and more athletic, her added just volume and density, we certainly appreciate. Young lady's Calico in 5 is one that just gets there. Comfortable hind leg, doing good in terms of his body. Needs to come with more shape. Young lady's comes out there in 6. Long-sided, shapely one. Wish we had more body. Wish we had more spread. And the young man that rounds out the class there, that gilt is one that in terms of a raw shape perspective you appreciate. We've got to level her spine and just make her more comfortable. Congratulate all 7 of those kids on a nice class.
Class 7 to the holding area, Class 7. Results from Class 6. In 7th place, Memphis Jones. In 6th place, Alyssa Wall. In 5th place, Adrian Cyrus. In 4th place, Caleb Ritchie. In 3rd place, Easton Collier. In 2nd place, Lane Bell. And in 1st place, Devin Fife. Reminder, all exhibitors will need to be on standby for a final drive. We would like to welcome our 2019 Pork Ambassador from Muskingum County, Ohio. Please give him a warm welcome.
Well, a smaller class of them here, and 6 of them that, quite frankly, none of them want to be in the ring. I still think we find a top end, and in my eyes, I think it's very logical and non-negotiable. A young man there in the center of the ring with that kind of half belt of guilt going away from him needs to win the class, and that's a really nice pig with a bad attitude. She's stout-featured, she's big-footed, she's still stout about her skull, but clean about her jaw and her throat latch. She's good in terms of the shape up high. She's wide in terms of her pin set going away, and she's still, even though she's big and wide in terms of her hip and her pin set, she's square from hock to ground, comes at you. She's square from knee to ground. I think a really nice place to start. Just wish we could get a better drive out of her to fully appreciate her. Young lady here in front of me needs to go second, and young lady does an awesome job, again, in terms of presentation, and that one's got a big old ditch back working in her, and that's a great big huge blade and forearm, and the shape to that one's just blade is honestly probably as good as any we've seen today in that one specific area. At the same time, that one is one maybe we want to square just a nickel from knee to ground. Why that one needs to go second. When you get in behind that one, I wish we could rein her in just a little bit in terms of where her hip and her pin set is. If we could pull her rear leg back inside her body wall ever so slightly as she goes away, I think it becomes a close decision between 1 and 2, but a nice pair of them to start. It gets us some contrasting parts and pieces here in 3 and 4. I like the young man's belted one to go 3. The young lady's calico's going to go 4. And simply put, the young man's belted hog, there's just more hog there. There's more base width. There's more chest. He leaves you with more mass. And get on the top side. That one, even though their spread is similar, that one just has more true muscle volume. Young lady does a nice job with her calico barrel there. I wish we could open that one at the ground. I wish we could bust him open in his chest. I wish we could make him wider as he goes away from you. As we round out 5 and 6 there, young man's belted one, another one. Good in terms of upper rib shape. We've got to clean that one's just head and jaw and throat latch. I wish we could level that one and just correct that one where that one that wants to tie his top line out of the backside of his blade. Young lady that rounds out our class there, another one. A young lady does a nice job, and that guilt that was giving her fits. We've just got to fix that one. If you study that one through the front third of her body, she's chubbier about her head and her neck, gets drier in terms of the center portion. Do like that one's just shape up high. We've just got to reconstruct that one. And nice class. Show your support for all 6 of those kids.
Class 8 to the holding area, Class 8. Results from Class 7. In 6th place, Haley Beckett. In 5th place, Tucker Huff. In 4th place, Shayna Leffingwell. In 3rd place, Junior Day. In 2nd place, Meredith Humphreys, tag 92. And in 1st place, Meredith Humphreys, tag 91. Now entering the ring, Class 8, Beckham Roth, tag 849, Levi Ross, tag 77, Shayna Leffingwell, tag 23, Cody Walker, tag 1, Devin Fife, tag 94, Jackson Gates, tag 54, and Caitlin Maynard, tag 61. Judge, this is your 265 to 269 class.
Well, honestly, a really nice class of 7 of them, and I would venture to guess the ones that go 5 and 6 probably really didn't plan on being in 5th and 6th, and the most competitive class that we've had so far in the day, just in terms of all the way through having quality. And I'm not going to tell you the champion's going to come out of here, or the best one I've ever seen comes out of here. I just sincerely mean the whole way through this class that there's quality in parts that you liked in all of them. And that said, the young man's Belt-A-Barrel in the middle needs to win the class. And does so pretty handily. That one's just kind of a freak in terms of just height to shoulder. That one's the ability for that one's blade to be laid back and the angulation to be correct and to be truthfully long-necked and tie his neck on the top side of his skeleton and still have some stoutness of skull but still be clean about his jaw is very, very unique. Get on top of him, he's fresh and shapely up high. He's got a big, square, functional hind leg. Again, I'm not going to tell you that one's perfect. I wish we could blend him better in terms of his ham-loin hookup. I certainly wish that one would go suck down a gallon or 2 of water, eat some feed, because I wish he would open in terms of his rib cage and just drop in terms of his flank. If he does that, then, man, that's lights out, but still very, very good one to start. As easily as that one needs to win, the young man's blue-eyed one needs to go second, just on a quality standpoint. And I'm not going to tell you in any which direction that one's the most or the ESTs of anything in this class, because quite honestly, she's not. She's not the biggest back. She's not the biggest legged one. What she is she's the second best quality one. She's square. She's comfortable. She's good in her bone work, good in her muscle pattern, and good on her profile and design. You know, could she come with bigger feet and legs? Could she come with just a little more shape up high? Yeah, she could. And honestly, if she does that, then we've got an extremely fun pair of them. But it gets close. I thought, honestly, 3, 4, and 5 was a very, very close trio of them. Ultimately, I land on the white socked one to go ahead and go 3 because that one just excels the rest of them in terms of muscle, in terms of base width, in terms of shape up high. Critics will say ringside, and I'll agree with them. We've got to square that one on her rear leg as she goes away. We've got to pick her up in terms of the height to shoulder. The blue one goes 4, the black one goes 5, and again, the blue one is taller shouldered. At the same time, that one, watch that one in terms of her hip length. She wants to get too sloped about her hip. She gets too short in her hip. If we could clean that one's head and neck and just make her naturally elevate and go north and south, we can move that one up. The black one that goes out actually probably reaches and grabs better than the blue one at 4. At the same time, when that one comes at you, it goes away from you. She's the most narrow-chested. She's the most narrow-pinned of our top end there. The calico that comes out next, parts of this one I like. I like this one's shape up high. I love that one's rear leg, and her ability to use her hip and her hind leg is extremely, extremely good. So why does she place where she is, excuse me. We've got to fix her front foot set. We've got to clean that one from blade to skull. At the same time, there just has to be more genuine hog there. There needs to be more body, more rib. The blue one that rounds out the class certainly has more body, more substance. Love those things about that one. You got to draw your line in the sand. That one's too far gone in terms of where its rear legs are for me, but I love that one's muscle. Show your support for all those kids as they head out.
Class 9 to the holding area, Class 9. Results from Class 8, in 7th place, Cody Walker. In 6th place, Beckham Roth. In 5th place, Shayna Leffingwell. In 4th place, Caitlin Maynard. In 3rd place, Levi Ross. In 2nd place, Jackson Gates. And in 1st place, Devin Fife. Now entering the ring for Class 9, Jason Lewis, tag 95. Mackenzie Daniels, tag 80. Easton Collier, tag 75. Cody Walker, tag 2. Haley Boggs, tag 26. And Lydia Saunders, tag 69. Judge, this is your 270 to 273 weight class.
Another nice class of young man's Calico Gilt on the far side wins and does so rather handily in this particular drive. She's stout-shouldered, another one, stout-skulled, attractive and through the front third of her skeleton, and still step back and evaluate that one. Good in terms of shape, good in terms of center body. Has another one that's got a big, square, functional hind leg as she goes away from you. And again, too, maybe similar to the barrow that wins the last class. When I get right on top of that one, I wish that one just opened and came with a little bit more through their forerib. I wish that one just kind of blend and proportioned a little bit better from the edge of their loin out through their ham loin junction and rump and stifle, but still, again, that's being critical on a very, very nice class winner. I think it gets close between 2 and 3. I like the young lady's blue barrel on the far side to go second, and that one, when you just step back, that one proportions and balances better. That one's got one big elephant in the room. He needs to be more comfortable on his front foot set. If you could strengthen that one in terms of his pastern set, I think that makes the decision to put him in a second easier. Well, you still evaluate him. His angles read right. He's comfortable off his hind leg. He's the best in terms of just his body and shoulder fill and proportion. Young lady, a really good skin and haired one, and the kind of Hampshire marked yoke that comes in 3. Heavy muscled one on the top side of her skeleton. I wish we could square that one from knee to ground. I wish we could clean that one in terms of just blade to jawline and elongate that one in terms of hip length, but still one that packs a bunch of muscle, and you certainly have to appreciate. Young man's blue-eyed one that goes 4. Gets shorter hipped and rounder muscled. Do like that one's just shape, frame size, and length aside. Just wish we could soften her up and level her out and make her more comfortable. We round out here in 5 and 6 with the blue one and the young lady's Beldo one there. A pair of hogs that are very similar. They're longer-sided hogs. We need to pick both of them up in terms of the height of their shoulder. We need to clean them up just from blade to jaw and just give them more. But an interesting class, a nice top end. If you would, congratulate and show your support for all 6 of those kids.
Class 10 to the holding area, Class 10. Results from Class 9. In 6th place, Mackenzie Daniels. In 5th place, Cody Walker. In 4th place, Easton Collier. In 3rd place, Haley Boggs. In 2nd place, Lydia Saunders. And in 1st place, Jason Lewis. Now entering the ring, Class 10. Levi Ross, tag 78. Alyssa Wall, tag 14. Brock Fleeman, tag 11. Beckham Roth, tag 50. Caleb Ritchie, tag 22. And Jackson Gates, tag 55. Judge, this is your class. Reminder for all swine showmen to be on standby for final drive.
Another nice class of them here. A young man, 78 over here, is painted up. Gilt needs to win the class, and you got a lot of friends ringside. You got a nice cheering section, but that one's an absolute just man-eater in terms of a few areas. That one in terms of just chest, base of chest, width of chest, squareness in the forearm and blade size. That one's shape on the top side of her skeleton is incredibly, incredibly good. That one's as good as we've seen in all of those areas. And at the same time, she runs uphill. She's good looking on the side. We've got a fixer in her ham loin. We need to lengthen her in terms of her hip. And honestly, that one to be that big-footed and that strong past turned a lot of unique things. I wish she would get out here and be just longer hipped. I wish she would grab and go north and south just with a little more comfort and just range of motion, because if she does those things, there's a lot of parts of that one to be excited about, period. If she can do that off of her rear end, man, you could get fired up in a hurry. The young man's kind of thin-belted one here needs to go second, and that one does have an advantage in terms of just range of motion out of her rear leg. And quite honestly, you can go watch me judge a lot of places. Very rarely will I tell you the one that has more range of motion is going to go second, but in this class I am. You're going to sit there and say why? A few reasons. To be at this weight, that one is the most closed up and concaved in terms of chest. When that one leaves you, that one's still immature and almost just lighter muscled about its stifle. If we could pull that one apart at the ground, pull that one apart up high, I love her skeleton. There just needs to be more true hog there. It just simply gets outmassed and outhorsed. Young man comes in a logical third place. Another one, kind of we talked. That one's not an EST hog in any area. Square, sound, functional, has body, has muscle. You know, that one needs to be bigger leg. That one maybe needs to be trendier headed and just it's just stouter featured if we want to talk about moving that one up in with our top pair of them. But again, that's still a very nice skill to go into 3. Young man's that comes out here in 4. I love this one's hip and hind leg and the way that barrel utilizes it. Love his shape on the top side of his skeleton. At the same time, we need to relax that one in terms of blade and push that one's blade down and back into its skeleton and allow that one just to level its spine. And if we do that, that extra muscle and just range of motion off its rear end, we can talk about moving that one up. We round out the class there, young lady in 5, and our youngster that rounds out there in 6. Young lady's in 5th. A good built, comfortable one. Just needs to have more muscle, more body, more dimension. Similar comments for the one that rounds out the class there. A long-sided one just needs to come with more market hog fundamentals, but a nice class. Congratulate all 6 of those kids as they head out.
All first place exhibitors report to the holding area and go to the pen that is coordinated with the class you are from. Second place winners from each class, please be on standby at your pens. Results from class 10. In 6th place, Brock Fleeman. In 5th place, Alyssa Wall. In 4th place, Beckham Roth. In 3rd place, Caleb Ritchie. In 2nd place, Jackson Gates. And in 1st place, Levi Ross. Now entering the ring for final drive, from class 1, Cheyenne Wilson. From class 2, Bentley Holland. From class 3, Grady Holland. Wait on a minute. Huh? Entering the ring from class 2, first place winner Bentley Holland. Class 3, Grady Holland. Class 4, Kaylee Payne. Class 5, Kennedy Shipley. Class 6, Devin Fife. Class 7, Meredith Humphreys. Class 8, Devin Fife. Class 9, Jason Lewis. Class 10, Levi Ross. These 10 will be competing for championship drive. All second place class winners report to the holding area and be in the pen that coordinates with the class you were from.
Well, if you guys would, you can shut those pigs down and just let them hang out for a second. I promise I won't be very long. I'm not real big on speeches. I don't plan them or write them out or anything fancy beforehand. But thank you guys again for the opportunity to come down here. And before we, I guess, get carried away, or we've got to get into our top 10 here, you guys ringside, if you would, put your hands together for our board guys, our ladies up top that help make the show run. I think it's been really fun, and honestly, I guess for a final drive speech, the only thing that I really honestly think I need to say is, I was scheduled to come judge this show last year, and we didn't get to do it, and look what we're getting to do this year, right? These kids are out here, they get to show their hard work. Yeah, clap. I think it was eye-opening to me, and I think a lot of people, just how fast something like this could be taken away from us. And quite honestly, these kids in the ring, you guys ringside, some of you might not care who's judging right now. I promise you won't care in 5-10 years who the judge at your 2021 Lawrence County Fair was. But what you guys will remember are the people, you remember the times. Kids, you're going to remember hanging out in the barn with your friends. So some of those will be your lifelong friends, and those are the things that you're going to remember, and enjoy your time while you're doing it. Your show career has a time clock, and whether you're in here in the final drive or I put you 6th in class because I'm the worst judge you've ever seen, enjoy your time here and know that it's limited, and have fun, make friends, make connections. So if you guys would, put your hands together for every kid that's been through this ring all day. So again, that said, you guys can fire these up. We've got to get a top 10 overall, and you can start showing them again, guys. We've got to get top 10 overall, and I thought even though numbers weren't huge, quality was very good all the way through, and I'll never be one. I really don't care what they weigh. I've never asked. I don't think I've ever asked what a pig weighs, whether they're the smallest one or the biggest one. If you make weight for your show, I think you're in contention to win, and at the same time, I think we went through them. There's probably 3 or 4 of them that hit me the hardest out of the gate, in terms of just combining all the things we talked about in terms of proportionality, balance, design, being able to step back and look at them. And, they're not always going to blend in a county fair setting, but I think you can see a lot of the things that we've done. They're tall-shouldered hogs that their blades laid in them, right? They're still long about their neck, but stout about their skull. They certainly can utilize their hip and their hind leg. And once you do those things, for me, is then you can start adding extras, whether it's just the size of their feet or their forearm, the shape and expression up high, their center body filling cavity, and really happy with all of these out here. And I thought I got close between a few of them. For me today, the one that balances the most proportionate, the one that I would certainly be proud to stand at a backdrop and say I raised in terms of stoutness of feature, look, skull, still being clean jawed, but they're still big in their back, they're appropriate and they're kind, and still fresh up high. That young man's Calico Gelt in the center of the ring's your champion. Congratulate him.
Your overall grand champion market hog, Jason Lewis. Lydia Saunders, tag 69 to the ring. Haley Boggs, tag 26 to the holding area.
We bring that second place one in and you know, just talk those ones. And honestly, I think, you know, there were 4 of them that came into mind. I thought it was realistically a 2-horse race for reserve. And the pair of them that are in contention is the young man's painted up barrel there on the far side and that young lady's thin belt of gilt there on the rail. And I think that decision for reserve and third becomes really close. And honestly, you step back, evaluate them. One of them's taller at the point of their shoulder. That same one's cleaner and more unique about their jawline. That same one's fresher in terms of the shape out of their back and out over their loin edge. And the other one maybe just has a nickel more bulk and dimension in the center portion of their body. A very close pair of them, and a pair of them that I'd certainly be proud as kids to drive. I like this young man's barrel in front of me to go reserve. Congratulate him.
Your overall reserve champion Market Hog, Devin Fife, tag 94. Jackson Gates, tag 54 to the ring. Levi Ross, tag 77 to the holding area.
Bring in the young man's blue-eyed one. And if you remember, we talked in that class, just a square, sound, functional type of gilt that does a lot of things correct in terms of having muscle, having body. And I still think the reason she goes second rings true in comparison to a couple others out here is that one maybe is unique in a few areas or just as stout or heavy duty to be in comparison with our Grand and Reserve. And ultimately, the one that needs to go ahead and go third, no, I don't think she is. The other one that I liked a bunch, and she's being a knothead out here, and that takes nothing away from her quality. Just in terms of stoutness of feature, being big-bodied, maybe wasn't just as out there or freaky in the front third of their skeleton, maybe not quite as long in terms of the hip as what our Grand and Reserve were. Young lady down here is our third overall. Congratulate her.
Your overall third place Market Hog, Meredith Humphreys. Meredith Humphreys, tag 92 to the ring. J.R. Day, tag 58 to the holding area.
Young lady brings her other one out there from that class, and that one jumps into the mix. It comes down to maybe another pair of them here, and quite honestly, there was one of them that's just a man-eater and freaky in a bunch of areas, and this one is a hip and hind leg away from being higher. It's a hog right here in front of me, needs to be the fourth one out. Congratulations to them.
Overall, fourth place Market Hog, Levi Ross. Now entering the ring, Jackson Gates, tag 55. Caleb Ritchie, tag 22 to the holding area.
We bring our young lady's second place one in there, and you know, I thought there was a pair of them that were similar, and the gilt that goes forward, you know, like I said, that one, if we had a different hip and hind leg and running gear, man, it could have been a whole different story tonight. And I think the comment holds true. The one that goes fifth, if we could relax this one in terms of its blade angle and lengthen this one in terms of its hip, there's a lot of unique parts. That young man saw the black one needs to be out next. Congratulations.
Overall, 5th place Market Hog, Devin Fife. Now to the ring, Lane Bell, tag 27. Easton Collier, tag 76 to the holding area.
Young man comes in, and we talked those ones in class. I think that one immediately jumps into contention with another one, like I talked. Livestock like this one never go out of style. Square, sound, functional, not as much or as unique in a few areas to sneak ahead of some of those other ones. But this young man's blue-eyed one's next out. Congratulations to him.
Your overall 6th place Market Hog, Jackson Gates. Now to the ring, Levi Ross, tag 77. Caitlin Maynard, tag 61 to the holding area.
That one comes in, you know, we talked heavy muscled, shapely up high. Need to maybe square that one off of her rear leg. And I apologize. I don't want to seem like I'm flying through this. We just looked at all of them, and I know the order that we want to take them in. The 7th one out needs to be that young man's thin belt of gilt. Congratulations.
Your 7th overall Market Hog, Lane Bell. Easton Collier, tag 76 to the ring. Caleb Ritchie, tag 21 to the holding area.
We talked that young man's gilt there that was 3rd in that class. Just another square, kind of stouter featured, bigger legged one. Maybe didn't have as much shape up high or as natural bulk as a few of them, but still certainly a higher quality one. I do think it gets closer out here for 8, 9, and 10 and where you want to go and what you want to do with your priorities. The one that I'm 8th most comfortable with is that young man's 3rd place one. Congratulations to him. He'll go next.
Eighth overall Market Hog, Easton Collier. Now entering the ring, Caleb Ritchie, tag 21. Adrian Cyrus, tag 17 to the holding area.
Next one comes in there, and like we talked, kind of a big-chested, big-backed one. Needed to lengthen that one in terms of its hip. And again, I don't want to discredit a lot of these kids that aren't going to get a piece of it. A lot of our lighter weight ones that had muscle and were bigger back, maybe we need to fix them on their front feet. Maybe we need to make them bigger in terms of their type and their kind. We've just got 2 spots left. The one that I think next best fits what we've done all day long in terms of build, look, design, presence. Certainly not one of the heavier ones out here, but a young lady there in the orange, just gilt on the rail, will be 9th out.
Ninth overall Market Hog, Kaylee Payne. Now to the ring, Kaylee Payne, tag 43.
As the young lady brings that blue one out here, one last time, you guys that are left, put your hands together for these kids on an awesome show. again, my compliments to you. Kids, have fun. Good luck the rest of the week. I certainly enjoyed my time out here. Thanks again for having me down here in Proctorville to sort through them. Next one, if we can rein it in terms of hip set and strengthen that one in terms of front foot, we could slid this one way up the line. Young Ladies Guild will be 10th. Congratulations.
Your 10th overall market hog, Meredith Humphreys. We would like to thank our judge, Garrett Sproul, from coming from Uhrichsville, Ohio today. Everybody give him a round of applause. In 10th place, Meredith Humphreys. In 9th place, Kaylee Payne. In 8th place, Easton Collier. In 7th place, Lane Bell. In 6th place, Jackson Gates. In 5th place, Devin Fife. In 4th place, Levi Ross. In 3rd place, Meredith Humphreys. Your overall reserve champion market hog, Devin Fife. And your overall grand champion market hog, Jason Lewis. This concludes our market hog show. Thank you.